everybody, Angel with the Black Wings time. So if you didn't watch part 1 and you're watching part 2, you should watch part 1. There's a lot of different things that I talk about, and it's just kind of a chatting type of message. And there's a couple of YouTube comments that I got on some different videos that I responded to. And I just talk, okay? I was gonna put it all in one video, but then I thought, you know what? I'm going to just call that part 1 and then actually do a part 2 where I just channel the angel with the black wings. But I'm going to put plenty of links in the description, so if you want to jump over to part 1, you can find a link there, and then I'll put links to previous videos I've done with the angel with the black wings. And I actually had a comment recently come up on one of those and was really inspiring me. For some reason, 2021 is kind of calling me back into the past to kind of revisit the past. I'm even posting videos every Tuesday, videos from the past that never got posted on YouTube. So I'm kind of going back in time, and so every Tuesday at 5 a.m. I'm posting yet another blast from the past video. So what is that saying about 2021? There's an interesting experience with time, past, present, future. Anyway, I'm going to relax now and get tuned in, and let's see where this goes. My previous memories with the angel with the black wings, I remember being surprised because there's so much meaning to this concept, and I wanted to dive into what is an angel with black wings? What does that mean exactly? And I welcome the universe, my higher self and guides, to guide me to an angel with black wings so we could get to know one. And it turned out to be an angel from a very old, very ancient angelic presence who had actually been contained in a dimensional space, and this angel is not allowed to leave this dimensional space because it is not choosing to shift away. It's maintaining a relationship with the original lesson and is not changing or shifting outside of the lesson. So in this ancient memory, where does this exist in all universes in all time? And what does the ancient energy actually feel like? It's freaking older than dust, okay? But this angel had basically consumed, is the only way I could define it, and we don't know the constructs of all universes. So in some universes there can be magic, where in this universe could be more of a practical, like we have the day-to-day human world. So just pulling a rabbit out of thin air, a rabbit out of the hat, like a real magic trick, not like sleight of hand, but actually manifesting some kind of physical event, doesn't really work so well for us here in this present experience, in this universe. But in other universes, the rules are different, okay? So this angel, the kind of the background story, had consumed a universe, basically. And consumed it until it possessed all souls within itself, basically. And was never going to, basically was exiled, could never leave its own decision-making, and was perfectly fine staying in that dimensional space, because the angel never wanted to, just wanted to be the only one in existence. Okay? Sounds like a very long time being very lonely. What is that saying, though, exactly? What type of soul is okay with that? A soul that wants to be God in its own right. These are my memories, and the original, I was originally exploring this several years ago, so it may be good to actually revisit the videos. So this is just my memories of how I remember it going, okay? I'm going to relax now and tune in. Kind of a fun mystery. And I'm going to go revisit that angel specifically. I tried to get that angel out of there, but I wasn't allowed at that time because the angel had not made a choice to leave that space. Because the angel had not made a choice to shift what was the choice within its own heart. I just feel like I love this angel very much, and I won't ever give up on this angel. So I'm very familiar with who this is. Right now, it's a bit peculiar. It's kind of like I'm looking at a really large beating heart, and it's really like close to my eyes. And so everything that I see is like a heartbeat, okay? And some of the echoes that come back to me is I valued the wisdom this angel had to share, and how matter of fact and basically honest this angel was about its choices and the way that it felt about its choices. And I valued that honesty. And I found it to be intriguing and wise for a human mind and perception of things. I'm starting to see the angel is it's almost like I opened a doorway to himself. It was a male persona. When I came to visit that angel, I opened a doorway to himself. And the reason why he was not able to leave that space was because he wasn't able to look at the choices that he made on a level that wasn't shallow. Like, he has to revisit the choices that he made with every single soul in all that time and space. And it was so hard on his soul that he chose to kind of basically be the god of dust. And he would never stop being the god of dust until he chose to actually look at how he impacted each soul individually, and had to go through that dynamic at a level that is extremely deep and difficult, and extremely aware. I see this angel is going through an undertaking because the door was opened and the angel was exposed by choice to himself. He's basically being transformed, and it looks quite gruesome, to be honest. It's almost like he has to go through hell before he'll ever get to heaven. And I see his heart beating, and it's kind of encased in a really gross, slimy shell. And the shell breaks in different places, and it has to be healed over, and the heart continues to beat. But this is a very long process. I mean, this could be, I don't know how to conceive of time when it comes to this, and how many lineages of this angel are going through cycles now in order to mend and work through all of the choices that were made. Can you even fathom what that would look like? And how long that would be, that perceived reality would be. It would be a single instant. Everything would be done. But then it would be trillions of years. What would you prefer? To be the god of dust? Or to go through the painstaking process of healing all the choices that you made? Would you rather be the god of dust or walk through the gates of hell to cope with your own decisions, to heal that, transform from that, be reborn amidst it all, and now be a totality of your own divine light, expressing itself in this dynamic blaze of extraordinariness? I just touched this beating heart. And there is an internal battle within the spirit of this angel. with the black wings, and it's chaos, and it's a battle within himself. It is literally a battle with himself. So how all the other souls had to battle him, this massive consumer of all light, extinguishing all light, he is now the god of dust, because there's nothing left but him. Now he has to turn the coin of perception so that he will have to face himself time and 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 time again, until he's faced himself enough times where he doesn't have to face himself anymore. It's just a very strange place where I'm finding this. This is completely open. It's not a closed off dimensional space. It's actually accessible. It's being, it feels like it's being watched over on a level, but the angel's like completely incapacitated. It's basically the transformation process that I'm walking into, and I meant to share this message with all of you. And share this viewpoint and this vision of time, this vision of this specific soul's dynamic meaning, and let you guys decide what that means to you. Interesting that a question about reincarnation came up that I was answering in the part 1 video, and I talk about how vast that whole that is. Reincarnation is like so insanely vast, and how many versions of a single soul there are that will always exist in all time, that always have existed in all time. And yet I'm walking into this angel with the black wings, and when I walked into him a few years ago, it was not easy to reach him. I had to go through kind of like the lock and key process of even getting into this dimensional space, and then to talk to him and to be exposed to his point of existence, his purpose, and what what his message is, okay? And I left, but I still, it's almost like a part of my own heart cared, so much that I left a residue of love with him. And then now here I am visiting him in the future, right? And I see how he has made a choice to go through a process of facing himself and his choices. So where and when in time did all of this happen anyway? It seems to be a big part of the meaning of 2021 as a concept of time and our collective growth and development. That what is time exactly, and what is time anymore? And it's like the dynamics of time are changing for us, and our relationship with time is changing. I just hug whatever this, it's like crusts and shells, and it just looks like a beetle-like material, but it's all slimy and gross, and a lot of it's grown over and then broke off and then exposed like this nasty looking infected scab, and then it's growing over and then broken off. So there's all these pieces of shell and gross looking like gangrene, nasty infected goo, and then a heart that's still beating inside of all of this. So I'm going to leave that energy space and let that continue. And I'm going to go to the higher self of this angel with the black wings, okay? Okay. I see why I like him so much. Because he likes to challenge people's perceptions of literally everything they think they know. And he likes to challenge people's perceptions to such a degree that when he has physical lifetimes, he has a tendency to be the pillar that you will never break down. and he challenges souls to conquer him. And if they can't conquer him, then that is their lesson. It's not his lesson. That's how he defines it. And he is never to, he will never be defeated, is also part of his construct. But I'm speaking to the spirit of who he is, and he's helping us to understand why his dynamic would challenge so many souls in a whole universe, and why he never stopped, and why he consumed everything until it was gone, because he was challenging the souls to, when it comes to strength and courage and in cleverness. It was a lesson for everybody, but all he wound up with in the end was himself. So where he likes to challenge people's perceptions, he himself challenges himself with perceptions. So now he has to understand that when he becomes the undefeatable pillar, you'll never break him down. He has to live with himself in the end. And that was the most challenging riddle of them all for him. Because if he has to live with himself in the end, then now he must change his presentation of self. Because every time he does it the same and becomes this, they just keep showing me a pillar that is never broken. And no matter how many people come and how many souls try to take this pillar down, it still stands strong. But then he is left with himself. So either he will continue to be the same, or he will change. He doesn't know how to do that, he says. He doesn't know how to not be what he feels is it's like his own DNA, his own construct. So he's showing me part one, the video is talking about the grasshopper. So the grasshopper has a personality, like a persona, a presentation of self, okay, as a grasshopper, versus an ant, okay, versus a bumblebee. And so they're kind of following through with an innate kind of program that they're going to follow through with because they are a bee. And a bee will not behave like a fish, right? A bee will behave like a bee. A human being is different in a way because we're always trying to understand ourselves and trying to grow and evolve and expand our sense of comprehension of self, our relationship with the physical and the spiritual. So we're not understanding our natural. We're not a grasshopper or a bumblebee. We're kind of scattered and picking up the pieces and then trying to comprehend those pieces in order to grow. But he solidly is one thing. Like that's what he shows me, is he is solidly one thing. But he is facing the challenge of transforming that concept into what? Into what exactly? He's really happy I came to visit. He wants to know what I want to know about. And he'll share his opinion. I'm going to throw it out there. All right. Again, you guys are going to have to watch part one if you haven't yet. But at the end of part one, I was talking about my relationship with video games. And I couldn't remember how to connect the dots back to the point that I was getting at. So I'm going to ask him what was the point? I was getting at. I need to know this. This is the most important thing. I just want to see what he says, okay? He's thinking for a while about many things. About the repetitious video game. It's basically doing the same thing over and 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 over again. And what did you get out of it in the end? But the experience of doing the same thing over and over and over again for a period of time. So like in this Lara Croft Tomb Raider game, you collect items, right, to build up your character. And then you buy items and then you improve those items to have better weapons, for instance, okay? So you're basically doing the same thing for hours and hours. And then you jump cliff sides and you know, go into tombs and stuff. And it's basically the same thing over and over and over again, but just different images and different look of trees and animals and different parts of the map, you know. But so you could say that this is just a shallow there's something shallow about that, but there's also something deeper about that, because you watch this character develop, and you are responsible for the development of the character and the success of the game. But you also watch the character die over and over again and try it again and try it again and try it again until it's mastered. And he's kind of balancing his hands like watching Lara Croft master the dynamics, the storyline of this game, master herself, master her challenges. It's a tall order for a human being to be Lara Croft in real life. To master so much emotionally, mentally, physically, and to just be that person. It would be a very tall order. But as a human being, for a short period of time, you get to step into the shoes of somebody extraordinary. And you get to try it and try it and try it again and eventually become successful. But now when you step into your own shoes and you have to go through a very long time just to get through each and every day, just to get through you know, some of the things that you want to accomplish in your life, it could take a lifetime to get there. A Lara Croft game, you could get there, and if you want to play it long enough time in a day, you could do it in a week, right? You could just totally finish a video game over a point of 6 months or a year or however long you want it to take. But it gives us an opportunity to step in the shoes of somebody extraordinary and to be that extraordinary person, which presents new opportunities to ourselves, asking ourselves questions. Like, what do some of these dynamics mean to me? The courage to overcome a fear of heights. Like when I watch the Lara Croft game and she has to scale these walls, I'm terrified of her falling because I feel like I'm going to die. But I'm not Lara Croft, I'm just playing a game, right? So it's introducing me. There's more depth to it. There is still more depth to it. And you could even parallel this concept with the whole concept of reincarnation, because you are watching the soul or the spirit, this dynamic persona that is Lara Croft, fall to her death until she can get it right, until she can follow it all the way through, until she can conquer it, until she can be successful in her own story, until she can learn her own lessons even that are going to challenge her. And you get to be a participant in that challenge and watch, almost like a spirit guide watching over the human, going through the dynamics of a life, getting to eat the popcorn and watch the human being. And what could be for the spirit guide a week of time or 6 months or a year or however long that time wants to exist for those watching this one soul in this human form getting through life, the story of life. He's thinking about this because he's saying that it's not just about me getting his advice or his perception. And he's just talking to me as like a regular person, you know? He's thinking about what this means to himself And why would this soul, that is me, come to visit him? And that the most important question I could ask him would be, why was I thinking of Laura Croft? He feels there is meaning for his own soul, almost like God is sending him a message through my question of for him to analyze and then send me an answer back. So he's also thinking about, why this for me? So then you could think about, why this for you, And he says it's important that as human beings we start to think about the meaning of each other and the roles that we are playing in each other's life. Whether that person is like this pillar that is unbreakable, and no matter how you break your back over fighting this, or trying to break this down or trying to conquer it, your lesson in life, it will always defeat you. But you don't have to be defeated by it. And to remember that that lesson that is undefeated also has lessons of its own. And also can be defeated by themselves in the end. And now they have to work through that. So think about the impact that we all make on each other's life. To think about that. He gives me a hug, and he gives us all a hug. And it's kind of like time ain't a thing. I mean, he's like, I don't know why he shrugged his shoulders and he looked like some, I don't know, 90s rapper. And he was like, time ain't a thing, yo. He was like, time ain't a thing. I don't know why he did it, but it was funny. He's got like golden chain with a big old golden dollar sign on it. And he's like, time ain't a thing. With like some kind of hand gesture, okay? He just did that. Because he's showing me how I'm touching the heart and the shells are coming off as though I did this for the first time. And so we're watching me from the past entering in and visiting this version of himself. And now we're watching me as though I had never been introduced to this angel with the black wings, and this is the first time I've ever been introduced. So we can see these moments in time, and he says there's going to be more moments in the future that I'm not even aware of. But when you look down from this vantage point, you can see every interaction that's ever taken place and every choice that's ever taken place. Every version of it. Every single version of it. It just takes me back to, this is time. This is really time. Time ain't a thing, right? But I had a moment that freaked me out. I mean, it freaked me out to my core, where I was driving to work and I was listening to this song on the radio, and I had deja vu so hardcore that I couldn't even figure out which reality I was in. And I was terrified because what remained of the deja vu was that this is not the first time I've lived this life exactly the same way. And for some reason that terrified the living daylights out of me, because my life wasn't particularly easy. And if I've lived this life in this exact same way, then the last time I lived it, it was also this hard. And I would really like to try this again where it's not hard. And it freaked me out. So how many versions of this life have I lived and am living simultaneously, and may even be living at some other version of time? I don't know how to understand it, but that's also true. And I find that deja vu, what it means to me now, is that I did it just like this last time. At least this segment of time is somehow blending exactly the same as it did in another version of the same life. Something about the first time that it happened, that big loud deja vu, was almost like the snippet of time was freaking me out. It wasn't just a moment. It was like a section of years of time were exactly the same. Anyway, so I guess that's it. All right. So I'm going to share with all of you. I feel like a real kinship with this angel. You can see them through different lenses, you know? The higher self, the balanced persona of all, different timelines of his own growth and development and my relationship with those times, the meaning of what I have in his life, as well as the meaning of what he is in my life, in all of our lives, and how we impact each other's lives is very, very precious and important, whether that is hard to face or easy to face. The lesson is benevolent. It's beautiful, it's pure in its own right. It makes a good story, even if it's a difficult story, and you're the main character of that hard story. It moves the heart of many souls. Makes you think, too. All right. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you enjoyed this series of videos. If any of you would like to work with me one-on-one for a psychic session, you can come visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. I also have 2 other YouTube channels, so you can check me out at Zodiac Energy Readings and Abbey Psychic Services. I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/abbeynormalswisdomquest. Have an amazing day, everybody.